Hi, thanks for visiting my channel. My name is Chanveer Chaudhary. I'm an IT professional, certified financial planner, and real estate investor. I've been able to become financially free in my early 40s by simply purchasing properties, renting them out, and holding them for decades. My goal of this channel is to help fellow Canadians do the same through financial education and investing in real estate. Topic of today's video is 5 things to remember about spousal RRSPs. This is the part 2 of the RRSP series. You can watch the part 1 of the RRSP series in the link above. I'll also put a description to all the RRSP videos in the description below. In today's video, we won't be talking about personal RRSPs, RRSP withdrawals, or RRSP mortgages. I'll be making 2 more videos on RRSPs for RRSP withdrawals and RRSP mortgages in the coming weeks, so keep an eye out for them by subscribing to this channel. Let's first define what spousal RRSP is. Spousal RRSP works much like a regular RRSP where you contribute to the plan by the RRSP deadline. You get the tax deduction based on your marginal tax rate when you contribute to the plan. Your contribution grows tax sheltered within the plan, and taxes are deferred until you withdraw money from this plan, preferably in the low income years. Now let's talk about 5 things to remember about spousal RRSPs. First thing to remember about spousal RRSPs that the contributor and the registered owners are 2 different spouses. Whereas regular individual RRSPs, contributor and the registered owner is the same spouse. In spousal RRSPs, the RRSP contributor is typically a high-income earner spouse, and the registered owner is typically a low-income earner spouse. For the purpose of this video, we'll refer to the contributor as a high-income earner spouse and the registered owner as a lower-income earner spouse. Even though different income level is not a requirement to set up spousal RRSPs, but spousal RRSPs thrive when there is a large disparity of income between spouses, and that makes for a great tax planning. Second thing to remember about spousal RRSPs that when contributing to spousal RRSP plans, high-income earner spouse contribution room is used, and he or she gets the tax deduction and gets the tax refund, whereas the low-income spouse makes the withdrawal and pays the tax after 3 years of contribution of funds to the plan. The reason why the lower-income spouse has to wait for 3 years will be discussed in a second. After 3 years, the lower-income spouse can withdraw up to $15,000 tax-free from the plan if he or she doesn't have any other income. This is due to the provision in the income tax called basic personal amount of $15,000, which is a non-refundable tax credit. Basic personal amount provides full reduction from a federal income tax for individuals with income below $15,000 in the year 2023, and it gets indexed with inflation every year. Let's say the higher income spouse makes $100,000 in income in year 2022 and makes $15,000 in RRSP contribution to the spousal RRSP plan for the lower income spouse by December 31st, 2022. In Ontario, the high income earner spouse will get a tax reduction of $5,069 for the tax year 2022. Now, lower income spouse waits full 2 calendar year for year 2023 and year 2024, and it makes a withdrawal of $15,000 after January 1st, 2025. Lower income spouse will receive a T4 RRSP slip from the financial institution for $15,000 for tax year 2025. And if the lower income spouse does not have any other income in the year 2025, they will pay no tax due to basic personal amount of $15,000. This way, family was able to save $5,069 by simply planning their contributions and withdrawal to the spousal RRSP plan. Third thing to remember about spousal RRSP plans is that there is a 3-year income attribution rule to avoid misuse of spousal RRSP plans. If lower income spouse who now owns the plan decides to withdraw funds from the spousal RRSP plan within the next 2 calendar years after the high income earner spouse has contributed to the plan, income will be attributed back to the high income spouse who got the tax reduction, which will defeat the purpose of opening the RRSP plan. Since the initial plan of opening the spousal RRSP plan was to transfer the tax bill to the lower income spouse upon withdrawals, then the lower income spouse has to make sure they don't withdraw funds from the spousal RRSP plan for the 2 full calendar year after the years the funds were contributed to the spousal RRSP plan. to have the withdrawal added to the lower income spouse income for that year. Spousal RRSP's deposit and withdrawal rules are quite complicated, but if the lower income spouse is planning on withdrawing funds 3 years from now, the contributor just has to make sure that they don't make any deposits for the next 2 calendar years, and the registered owner has to make sure before withdrawing the funds from the spousal RRSPs that there was no withdrawal or deposits made in the previous 2 calendar years. Another tip about the income attribution rules for the spousal RRSPs that if the lower income spouse is planning on withdrawing funds 2 to 3 years from now, the higher income spouse has to make sure that they make contribution before December 31st of the prior year, rather than waiting for the RRSP deadline of March 1st. 3-year income attribution rule does not apply if there is a marriage breakdown, or if one of the spouse become non-resident of Canada, or one of the spouse dies during the year of withdrawal. Fourth thing to remember about spousal RRSP plan that it can be used as part of the first-time homebuyer plan, where the registered owner of the spousal RRSP plan can withdraw $35,000 tax-free from this plan without paying any withholding tax. You're considered a first-time homebuyer if you or your spouse have never owned a home in the previous 4 years. And you must have a written agreement to buy or build a qualifying home which you intend to occupy as a principal place of residence within 1 year. Withdrawal of spousal RRSP funds under the first-time homebuyer plan is a great way to avoid 3-year income attribution rule, since income attribution rules does not apply if you withdraw money from the spousal RRSP plan under the first-time homebuyer plan. As long as the funds in the spousal RRSP plans are held for 90 days, which is similar to the requirement for the regular RRSP plan under the first-time homebuyer plan. There is a common misconception that if one of the spouse never worked and have no contribution room, that particular spouse cannot participate in the first-time homebuyer plan by contributing and withdrawing funds from the RRSP plan under the first-time homebuyer plan. In fact, if one of the spouse has extra $35,000 contribution room, he or she can make the contribution to the spousal RRSP plan for the spouse who never worked and never had a contribution room, and then withdraw $35,000 from the spousal RRSP plan under the first-time homebuyer plan. Since both personal RRSP plans and spousal RRSP plans have different registered owners, both spouses can withdraw $35,000 each without paying the withholding tax for the total of $70,000 as long as funds are held in the RRSP plans for 90 days and start paying it back as per the RRSP homebuyer plan repayment schedule. Fifth thing to remember about spousal RRSP plans that in case of marriage breakdown, the spousal RRSP funds can be merged into the individual RRSP plan of the lower income spouse. RRSPs are then treated same as the rest of the family assets and become part of the net family property and divided among spouses on equal basis. In case of death of the registered owner of the spousal RRSPs, RRSP funds can be transferred to the RRSPs of other spouse as tax-free rollovers similar to the regular RRSPs. Spousal RRSPs were the primary income splitting tool available until 2007 when government introduced pension income splitting rules for retirees, where retired couple can now choose to split 50% of their eligible retirement income, such as RRIF, annuity, or pension income. This made spousal RRSP less relevant in retirement years as an income splitting tool, but it's still a great income splitting tool before retirement to save on taxes to reduce the overall family tax bill. If one of the spouse turns 71, they cannot contribute to their RRSP plan even though they have the contribution room. This is because all RRSPs, including spousal RRSPs, must mature by December 31st of the year you turn 71. But if you have a spouse who is younger than you can contribute to their spousal RRSP plan using your contribution room. That's all for this video. Please remember to watch 2 more videos coming up for RRSP withdrawals and RRSP mortgages. If you think information like this can help someone, please share this video. Also like, comment below, and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.